Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Kalika and you're gonna be a better person after watching this video. You don't have kids, you should pay for me. I had an acquaintance I would go to yoga with often. We started going to lunch after our workout. It was fun. We would sit on this amazing balcony and relax and have our lunch while talking about everything that had gone on that week. The first week the waiter gave me the bill and without a second thought, I just paid it. Normally I have done the I get this time, you get the next time thing. Only thing is, the second time the waitress handed it straight to me again. I look at my friend who starts getting her things ready to go and I just again pay it, although slightly confused. Then the third time, the same thing happened. I asked the waitress the reason I kept getting the full bill from her. I asked while my dining partner was away. The waitress looked uncomfortable and stated my friend each time told her I was paying. I told the waitress to please split the bill and no such arrangement had been made. My friend returned to the table, ordered another drink, and I asked the waitress for my bill so I could be checked out. She brought both our bills and I pulled out my debit card to pay my part. I owed $12.32, much more manageable for my budget. My friend's bill was $38.24, about an average of her last two bills. My friend looked at the waitress, confused. "Oh no, I'm not paying for that, put it on her tab." I look at her with question. "Excuse me?" Her response, "You paid the last two times." "I know I did. That's why I'm surprised you're not paying for me this time." That is when she said the annoying words, "I have kids, you don't, you can afford it." "Excuse me?" I said, clearly offended. "If you can't afford it, why are you consistently ordering 3 times my bill?" I glared at her. She looked at me and said, "You know I don't get to go out much, I deserve this." I was so frustrated. "Yeah, you deserve it, but not on my dime. Also, you go out all the time." She called me selfish and clarified she had no card or money to pay for her part. The waitress said she needed payment from one of us or the police would be called. I paid Entitled Mother's part of the bill and left a note and 0% tip on my receipt. I stopped talking to Entitled Mother, who made it a point to tell everyone in class that she was so confused and did not understand what the problem was and found me selfish considering it was only $38. Which, if you ever read this, I hope you choke. The restaurant called and asked if they could do anything. I just told them to train staff regarding checkout procedures. It was an odd situation for me. I was uncomfortable, and I feel threatening police on me for food and drink I didn't order or touch was uncalled for. I never went back. What a crappy friend. Imagine going to lunch and not even bringing any form of money to cover your part of the bill. I know we're an entitled parents here, but come on. I would have let the police be called. If I've paid my $12, they have no business with me, but maybe the entitled woman would get a reality check. Ha, see what I did there? Episode 1. The Entitled Ex-Wife Wants More Child Support. I searched for an Entitled Ex-Wife subreddit, but didn't find one. However, since this involved, indirectly, my children, I think that it qualifies as an entitled parent story. So here goes. Warning, this is kinda long, so bear with me. TLDR at the bottom. The background. My ex and I met in high school when we were 14 and started dating in my junior year. Got married a few years after I graduated and moved to her hometown. We lived paycheck to paycheck for quite some time. Moved from her hometown back to my hometown and I subsequently joined the army. Ironically enough, this was the time when she told me that she wanted a divorce. Me, being fresh out of boot camp and by this time extremely tired of her crap, agreed. We'd been married for about 7 years at that point. So I worked on the divorce through the mail with a lawyer that my dad knew in my hometown. As this was the days in which the internet was in its infancy, AOL was king, and MySpace wasn't even a thing yet. So fast forward through my 28 weeks of job training and the first year of my 2-year tour in Korea, I extended for an additional year. I'd gone to the field for a training exercise, FTX, which was basically army camping for 2 weeks. Prior to leaving, I had sent my ex an email letting her know not to expect any communications as cell service was spotty where we were going and there was no internet. After the FTX was complete, we jumped over to Kunsan AB for a missile shoot. The Air Force had just built a new BX, a base exchange, military version of Walmart, so we were allowed to set up costs in the old BX building, which still had electricity, and more important, air conditioning. It also still housed the cyber cafe, which had not moved to its new location yet. As the aircraft were unable to take off at our home station due to weather, we suddenly had a free afternoon. So I decided to go over to the cyber cafe and check my email. The first thing I see is an email from my ex demanding that I call her immediately. Of course, the first thing I think is that there's something wrong with the kids. We had 2, a boy and a girl. So I pull out my cell phone and my calling card, super cheap way to call the US from Korea, and make the call. The first thing that comes out of her mouth is a tirade of, "Why haven't you called before? It's been 2 weeks." I got a little heated and reminded her that A, I had emailed her to let her know that I'd be out of touch, and B, I had told her this before as it was not the first time I'd gone to the field, and C, she should have called Mom and Mom would have called me if it was an actual emergency. My ex's credit was so bad that the phone company would not authorize a long distance or international calling plan for her line. Again, this was back in the day when cell phones were still new and people still had a home phone. My stepmother had given the kids some calling cards so they could call their grandparents, and my ex could have used one to call my mum to get in touch with me. So we finally get down to the emergency. Her bank had closed her checking account. When I asked her why it was my problem to deal with, she said that it was still a joint account and she could not deal with it because of her anxiety. Now at this point, I started to see red. You see, when I had taken the divorce papers up to her to sign, one of the things that I did was speak to the manager of the bank. My ex already had a reputation at the bank for bouncing checks. I explained what was going on to the manager, and she authorised the opening of a savings account for my ex so that my child support payments could be deposited into it, as the joint account was going to be closed. Unfortunately, my ex was not at the bank with me when this conversation took place, so they could not close the account right then and there. So I signed the papers, they witnessed it, and all my ex had to do was go to the bank, sign her name, and all would be taken care of. My ex never got around to it. Unfortunately, at the time, I was in a hurry to get out of town, so I didn't take the extra hour to take care of it then, much to my misfortune. So I called the bank. At the same time, I started composing an email to my lawyer about the situation. He was cool AF and had told me to let him know if I had any further problems with her. The bank rep told me that her account had been closed because she had bounced so many checks that the account was overdrawn by $500 or so. If you don't understand what bouncing a check means, go ask your parents. This story is getting longer by the minute. I then asked what was going to happen to the allotment that I had set up for child support payments. The military lets you set up a payment directly from your paycheck to pay certain types of bills. This is called an allotment. It shows up as a deduction from your pay. The rep told me that since the account was closed, the child support would be sent back from whence it came, i.e. the army pay system. I sent all of this off to my lawyer, including her likely response. As it turns out, I was about 90% correct on how she would react, and he responded fairly quickly. So I opened up Yahoo Messenger and told the ex what the bank said, and told her that I would give her a double payment the first of the following month, as the child support had already been deducted from my paycheck. This is what followed. "Well, that is just unacceptable. You need to pay me my child support now." Perhaps you didn't understand. I don't have it. It was already deducted from my paycheck, sent to your account, and then sent back to the army pay system. I won't see it until the next month. "Well, that's not my problem. I need that money. You are required by law to pay me." Me having received a reply from my lawyer. "Well, I made a good faith effort to pay my court-ordered child support obligation. It was your illegal actions, bouncing checks all over town, that rendered you unable to receive the payment. Again, I won't see the money in my paycheck until the first of the following month. You can't squeeze blood from a turnip." Meaning, I don't have the money to send, and will not have it until the next month. "How am I going to feed the kids? This is all your fault. You need to fix it." I suggest you figure it out. You're the custodial parent with the responsibility to take care of my kids. I fulfilled my financial obligation, not my fault that your actions caused you to not be able to receive the child support. If you don't send me my child support right now, I'm going to report you to the DHS, the Child Welfare Agency, for non-payment of child support. Cool, I'll just fax them a copy of my LES, a leave and earnings statement, that shows the child support allotment on it. This went back and forth for a few more minutes, and I agreed to send her $50 through Western Union to cover the essentials, milk and sundries for the kids, which was all that I could spare. The ex says, "How are you going to send me my child support from now on since I don't have a bank account?" "I'm going to mail a check, of course." "What? I can't cash a check here. I'm banned from cashing checks at every business in town. You have to send me my child support in a manner in which I can receive it." "Not my problem. A personal check is a legal form of child support payment in the US, so..." "I'll just not cash the check and report you to the DHS, the Child Welfare Agency, for non-payment." "Cool. I'll just send it registered mail, signature required. No problem." "Can't you just Western Union it?" "What, every month? Sure, I can do that, if you want to pay the money transfer fees." "What? No, I shouldn't have to pay to receive my child support." "Well, I shouldn't have to pay to send it. Yet here we are." Wow, and that was only episode 1. I've read in the comments that OP's kids are now over 18 and doing well. Episode 2 isn't out yet, but if you'd like me to keep an eye out for it, then let me know in the comments. Okay, so that's all for r/EntitledParents. I really hope you did enjoy it. As always, if you do want to see more content like this, then please do subscribe. My Twitter, Discord and Patreon links are in the description, and any support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching.